Now let me ask you a question, bro. I'm keeping my voice down right now because I want to keep my energy. And sometimes you got to harness your energy. Now, I got a question for you. Are you ready for Oxnard tomorrow? Now, don't answer yet. Don't answer yet because you're already getting a little hysterical. Your breathing is a little shallow.
Sweaty hands.
Hands a little clammy. And I'm going to tell you this, and I want to say this live to everybody, and it's okay. And I'm going to say this because I love you, and you're my brother. If this podcast is getting too big, if these live shows are becoming too much of a responsibility, hold on, I'm not done. If this whole thing is taking on a life that is simply too big for you to manage, then I'll tell you what. You can walk away, and I got this.
You got this? You can hold the fort down?
I got this.
I got this.
Let me hold the fort down. I will design the T-shirts. I will handle our social media. I will fire Keely. I will rehire her as long as she does some stuff for me.
Does some stuff for Daddy.
Oh, yeah. Does some stuff for Daddy.
Does some stuff for me.
You want your bills paid? Got to work with the kid. All right? And if this sounds like sexual harassment,
you're wrong.
Then it's not. What it is me helping a young lady with her life, with her rent, and with her sexual urges. Urges. I am married with 2 children. I will ignore them for you.
That's all here. I mean, that's up for debate. Like it's
the way it is.
If you're into that,
that's what we'll do.
Here's the good news.
Right?
There's good news and bad news.
Got some good news.
The good news, you're gonna get paid more. Yeah. Bad news is you're gonna earn it now.
Well,
and by earn it, I mean you're gonna have some.
And I got some even better news.
Some gray hairs when you go home.
But I got some even better news. You're gonna get paid more. Not in money. Not in money, but in 49 euro shine. Now, what? I can't say it out loud, but you can get paid in.
I thought.
49 euro.
Well, bro.
What?
I thought you were going to pay her more money because then she'd want to do the job.
No.
But you're not paying her hard.
I'm going to gift her. I'm going to gift her
cash.
I'm going to gift her my hard cold.
Well, I don't think she's up for that gig.
If this thing goes sour, by the way, they're going to replay this whole thing, and I'm going to be sued for sexual harassment.
You're going to be like Billy Bush.
That's exactly right.
They fired him.
That's such a bummer. Do you think isn't that a little overkill? He's just a tool. He's not a dick. I mean, maybe he is, but do you have to fire the guy? He needs that job.
Goddamn, dude.
I mean, seriously, it's so mean to fire him. Well, he condones sexual assault. Bullshit he does. And don't say it's sexual assault because it's an insult to women who've been sexually assaulted. Rape is some heavy shit. Okay? It's violent. It's grabbing somebody. It's beating them. What do you call that if you call the other sexual assault? Are there different levels of sexual assault? Yes. But don't tell me that words, do not tell me, like this woman was talking about how it's verbal assault. Well, that's the world we live in. It's called freedom of speech.
No woman was around, though.
No woman was around.
I'm not defending Trump or Billy Bush. But no one was no around. Female was assaulted.
Yeah.
The only reason the only reason it came to light, was because that the Hillary's campaign released the audio. Other than that, and that's the only reason females heard that audio.
Correct.
Otherwise, no one's feelings were hurt. No one got assaulted.
Correct.
I'm not condoning it, and we don't talk like someone who assaults women in a locker room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I'm not condoning that.
That's right.
All I'm saying is I don't think Billy Bush should lose his job over a private discussion. Same with Donald Sterling. That private discussion, you have this chicken head. Am I racist? Not in the least bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What he does in the privacy of his home. It's a
private conversation that they were privy to.
But everyone listening going, oh, fuck Billy Bush, fuck Trump, forget Donald Sterling. You don't have to like him, but imagine if throughout your day we took certain audio clips and played it for the general public. Right. And then people are going to form an opinion.
You're going to take it out of context
off that.
Yes.
Who knows? You might be at lunch with your friends and your friend brings up someone you don't like and they take that sound bit. Yeah, how crazy is that?
I've talked to a number of women, actually, and they're older, granted, but they've all said, they were like, I don't know what the big deal is. My mother-in-law said something interesting.
You did a survey?
It's a shitty thing to say because they're, the opinions are all over the place. But I talked to, my mother-in-law said something interesting. She said, First of all, when I heard Donald Trump and Billy Bush, you know what I thought? I went, those guys are tools. And I don't like Donald Trump. And I looked at Billy Bush and I went, oh, he's just a tool. And he's just trying to be friends with Donald and all that. That's fine. My thing is this. My mother-in-law said, look, what he said is kind of shitty, I guess. I wouldn't not vote for him over that if he was a really effective leader.
Well, and that's what you said. That's what you said earlier too. Yeah. But the thing is this mob mentality to get Billy Bush fired,
it's mob
and
mentality.
For the NBC executives go, oh, we better fire him.
Yeah.
God damn,
it's mob mentality.
Show a little pride, NBC. You're like, geez, man.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things I like about podcasting is I can joke around with Keely and not get crucified because I'm joking around.
Well, we're also a comedic podcast, and we've kind of set this tone. Like,
yeah, but you said it.
Like sometimes I worry about, with the, what shows and networks I'm working with now for my own individual stuff. So I'm like, God, if they heard what I say on the podcast, I wonder if it hurts me or not. But this is where they know me from.
Right.
This is all they know.
Exactly.
And obviously I have a filter, and this is kind of like,
oh, you're also not an asshole.
Talk.
You're also not a dick.
I don't know if Billy Bush is. Like,
I don't either. I don't either.
I think I might have met Billy Bush once on the red carpet. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him.
People are making a judgment.
But you're making a judgment, a mass mentality to get this guy to lose his livelihood, his earnings, which he's worked forever for. He might be a complete asshole. Let's get one thing straight here. No one really knows him. He has kids. He has a family. Now he's out of a job.
Yeah.
And for what?
Out of a job,
for a video that was 12 years ago, and he had Donald Trump, one of the most powerful men in the world.
And he was kind of just part of the conversation. It wasn't like he was being a guy and kind of like he was being a cheerleader. But you wanna take his livelihood? That's really hard to find a job. He's got bills. He's got kids. It's fucked up. And to me, it is. It's mob mentality. It's very mean-spirited. It's very unforgiving. And you're judging him on essentially being, I guess he was part of what could be considered verbal assault.
Well, his issue is people wanted, right? Because now he's lumped in with Trump. So how many Trump haters are there in the United States? So they're like, all right, Billy Bush, Trump, what can we do? Let's create this straight uproar and get Billy Bush fired. And that's how we can affect this.
Yeah, that's real brave.
But little do they, it's just cowards behind a computer sending emails.
Well, it's also cowards who own, who's he work for? Hollywood?
NBC.
Yeah, I mean, it's also them. Have
NBC.
A backbone. Give the guy a break. Give him a chance. Suspend him.
That's what I said. I see a suspension.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we just can't have
fire him.
We got to do something to please these a-holes who are anti-Trump, and you're associated with him now, so we got to suspend.
That's another thing. It's a political decision.
That's what it is. That's what's going on.
I get Trump and Trump supporters going, man, the media is, Trump is not his own friend. He gives the media plenty of fodder. And again, you know that I'm not a fan, but I think this is also as political as it gets. I don't think when you fire someone like Billy Bush and send a message, I do not think it helps women's rights. I do not think it helps heal the rift or divide between men and women, especially men like that and women. In fact, what I think it does is it builds resentment. The progressive left, the progressive liberal left, is a very puritanical movement. It's a very intolerant movement, and it is a very mean-spirited, vengeful movement, in my opinion. It's victim mentality. And, as long as they behave that way, they're not going to get people like me. You're a fair-minded guy. I'm a fair-minded guy. I hate a bully. I do not like Trump. I don't like people who sexually harass women, and we don't like that. I don't like bullies. I just believe in fair play, right? But you're going to lose dudes like me, and already have, because my instinct is to be like, fuck you guys. You can't even, there's an assault on boys in schools. Boys, a lot of books written about this. Boys Adrift, The War on Boys by Christine Summers. Boys are just not allowed to be boys.
Boys?
Yeah, man. There's a real
whoever
war.
wrote that book should be slapped.
No, she's Christine Summers it shouldn't be slapped. Christine Summers is a very smart.
Oh no, she's saying the war on boys. Like she's saying it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, I thought you were saying she wrote a book pitching war on boys.
No. Then you have people like Naomi Wolf, who is also an academic, who basically said that men force women to dress. It's called the beauty myth. They force women essentially to dress, with makeup and high heels and all that stuff, and it's to make women essentially feel bad for them. So they basically feel bad for themselves. And men have created what beauty is, the myth of beauty. So why wouldn't a really heavy woman be just as beautiful as Brooklyn Decker? Well, what we do know scientifically is if you take congenitally blind men who have never had eyesight, they prefer a mannequin with a small waist and hips and big tits. And there's been countless studies where there is a certain standard of beauty. Infants will stare, I did this on the Discovery Channel, will stare at a woman's face who's perfectly symmetrical. They had a regular woman, and then they had a supermodel. Guess who the infant stared at the longest? The supermodel. So we keep proving that there is a standard for beauty. Different cultures have a different idea of what beautiful is. Some women can be heavier, other women can be thinner, but for the most part,
physical beauty, yeah.
To say that when a beautiful woman shows up, Rogan was talking about this on his podcast with Gad Sad. He was saying when a beautiful woman shows up, men are drawn to them. It doesn't mean I'm trying to make other women feel bad. I just swallowed something.
Do you want some coffee?
No, moth. I got it. Look at it. Can you get it out? Hold on.
It's a giant moth.
Thanks, buddy. Sometimes I swallow moths, and it's because I have a light at the end of my tongue.
You're like one of those fish in the deep sea?
I'm just enlightened. Yeah, that's how I eat.
One of those light fish? How crazy is that?
It is weird. They've evolved.
They have lights on
how about the fact that nature
just flipped the script there?
I know, but nature has eels that have in the middle. You can be swimming along, and if you touch them, they'll electrocute the shit out of you.
It's nuts. Nature's a cold-hearted bitch.
I want to learn how to.
Hey man, you all right? You got a scratch on your head. Your eyes are watering. You got a cough.
I'm crying.
Yeah, there's literally water. There's fluids everywhere.
When I talk about the progressive, intolerant left, I get super teary.
You start to cry?
Yeah.
Dude, yesterday when we had the ghost hunter on, Chad Kalick, when he was talking about his dad having those third-degree burns, I thought he was going to say he died. I started to get emotional.
Me too, dude.
And he's all... I went up there and like, this is the last time you're going to say goodbye. I was like, I'm about to cry, man. And he's like... Then I went back the next day and they said, he's going to make it one more time. Say goodbye again. I was like, oh, fuck, this is a bummer, man. Just kind of pull the plug, huh? And then he goes, then by the grace of my mother's hand, the third day, I was like, all right, man. All right, you lost me now.
Well,
I was like, oh, I'm about to cry. And he's like, then on the fifth day, I went back and this time I made my corrections on the goodbye note. And it was getting good because this is the fifth draft,
and on the 27th day.
And then he just keeps going. On the 64th day, my dad looked at me and said, this is it.
And yesterday, it had been 12 years, and I finally said my final goodbye. He's 86.
He actually just texted me, and he's not dead. He's not dead. So if you mind, I'm going to text him a goodbye letter.
I have to go say goodbye
every day.
Every single day I say goodbye.
No, he had me choked up.
Me too. When his mother,
the whole I see the comments online. Like, why even bring that guy on? Let me get this straight. You don't believe in dragons, but you're gonna bring on a ghost hunter? All right, bitch. We can't have a dragon sit in studio, can we?
Yeah.
So that kind of defeats that argument. Yeah. If a dragon wanted to sit in the fucking show, I'd interview the dragon.
There are people that believe
it'd be a grand old time.
Yeah, there are people that believe this shit, and of course I don't believe it.
According to Chad, 77% of the world.
Yeah, having Chad on, it still made me, I believe in even less.
Yes.
All due respect to Chad, but here's the thing.
The reason I brought him on is because I know you're not a believer.
Yeah.
It's his career.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting.
It's great.
I find it very interesting.
He's a good
Do I believe all of it? No. His video, tough. The documentary is amazing, though. However,
Chad's a good storyteller. He's a good documentary maker.
And in that world, he's a beast.
And he's a beast. So good for him.
But it's an interesting guest.
He's an interesting guest.
Whether you believe it or not, or we believe it or not, or Brian believes it or not, the dynamic in his story and his opinion is what makes that a fun show.
How about my mother-in-law? My mother-in-law went, I don't know if that was a good idea to have him on. I go, why, Linda? And she said, well, sometimes they can bring a ghost home with them. They can kind of put a ghost on you. I went, no, they can't. No, they can't. And by the way, I dare him to. Don't do that. Don't dare him. I go, I dare you. I dare the ghost.
After I did Ghost Adventures, I was like, God, can this thing follow me home? And some lady was like, I'm going to do this for you. and you should be good when you go home. I was like, okay. I was whatever they want. If they're like, drink this piss right out of my boy's dick, and he will not follow you home. I was so scared I would have done it.
Well, I will say this: when I got home and it was dark, I swear to God, scared. I went to the fridge and I saw a little something move in the corner of my eye, and I went, "What the fuck is that?"
You're on high alert.
Yeah, I was like, "I wonder if there is."
You know what I did? I watched Conjuring 2. Oh, I like to get really scared and then have nightmares and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I fell asleep. I worked on my stand-up. Then I hit Conjuring 2, made it through about halfway and fell hard asleep. Ate about a bag of grapes, too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Treated yourself some grapes? It's really weird you say
Cold
that.
grapes.
It's so weird you say that.
Grapes are hot right now.
I ate the shit out of a bunch of grapes.
Give it up, man.
I ate a bunch of grapes.
Dude, I don't hate Whole Foods. You got to keep in the cotton candy grapes. Have you guys had those? They will change your life. They're like a genetically modified grape that tastes like cotton candy. Oh, they're so fresh. Then they have moon grapes. They look like little weenie roasts. They're like long lunar grapes, is what they're called.
Lunar grapes.
Grapes are the hotness right now, man.
Well, there's a guy who wrote a book called The Dorito Effect about flavor and how the Dorito was invented in 1964.
Was it a New York bestseller?
Yeah, I think it's doing really well. The Dorito was invented in 1964, right? And this guy who was an ad man was down in Southern California, and he goes, he's eating they stop at a Mexican shack, a little shack, and there's like corn chips, and he goes, "This is going to be the next. I'm going to make." And this is a guy he was working for Frito-Lay at the time. He goes, "This is going to be the next big thing." And
the chip?
Yep, the chip.
The tortilla chip.
The tortilla chip. So he's like, I'm going to make this huge. So he goes,
white boy or Mexican?
He brings it, white boy. We're going to bring it back. He sells it. He goes, here's the Dorito. So, not even the Dorito. He goes, here is a chip. And they put a bunch of corn chips in. Doesn't sell at all. So he goes, what the fuck's wrong? Let me think of this. And he goes, I got it. So he had a friend who was, and this was in 1962 or whatever, when food flavoring was becoming like a big deal, okay? And so, because these scientists figured out, because they never knew why a strawberry tasted like a strawberry. They never knew why a cherry tasted like a cherry. Like you couldn't figure out, and they invented this genius guy invented what's called a gas chromometer or whatever, which actually can separate the chemicals that create flavor.
Jesus, what is that guy?
Like a genius, right? Like a straight genius. You know what I mean?
How do you even make something
I don't know. Like they would.
Where do you even start?
It's so crazy, right?
What the fuck? How weird is it?
It's so
Some
weird.
People are good at that shit.
I know. And so this dude, they figured out a way. It's this gas chromometer or whatever, and it separates flavors into their chemicals. So now you're able to take. So now you get vanilla. They get vanilla flavoring out of pine cones because they mix that chemical from the pine cone with another chemical from a piece of wood or whatever.
So he just decided to put powdered cheese on a tortilla.
So
is there a better chip than a Dorito?
Dude, how about this? Ready? So he says,
"Dog, they're nice."
So he says, "I got it." He says, "I'm going to invent. We're going to make this chip, this corn chip, taste like a taco." And the people at Frito-Lay were like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Huh?" And he goes, "Watch." Calls his buddy. His buddy goes, "Yeah, we can do that. We can figure out." They flavor that Dorito.
That little corn tortilla chip.
Now I think Dorito or Frito or whatever's called Dorito, I think it means it's like slang in Spanish for little pieces of gold or something. Anyway, they put that stuff on. Then they come up with nacho cheese. And I don't know if you know this, but the reason that you can't stop, so you never had noticed how you keep eating and you can't stop eating Doritos, especially the first time you ever ate them?
The crunch?
Nope, it's not the crunch. So this is really fascinating.
Hey, bro, let me ask you something before you go on. Why are you so balls deep in Doritos now?
Read the book.
It was just his entire...
Oh, no.
It was 400 pages about Doritos?
Oh, no.
You weird.
Oh, I'm getting to a larger point. When you eat something that's nutritionally void, like it doesn't have any real nutrition, but it has flavor, you'll just keep eating it. The reason that you can eat something that has that's been grown like a tomato, say that's a really good tomato on the vine, organic, when you eat it and it really tastes good, but you can have like 2 or 3 and then you're done, is because you got the nutrition you needed.
The nutrients?
Yeah.
So when you eat, you're saying when you eat empty calories, your body's like, let's keep going here.
Yes. And
but
so
there's a ton of calories in it. Yeah.
Flavor's done that, and we put flavoring in fucking everything. Do you know that we put flavoring in beef and in pork that you buy? Like they put pork flavor and beef flavor in the meat.
Thank you for that.
There's so many things. chickens, you know how chickens are completely bland. The chickens that you eat today, obviously, are so different than what they call an heirloom chicken. Because after World War II, when they had to ration beef because the beef was going to the soldiers, they had something called the Chicken of Tomorrow contest. And they said to everybody in America, every farmer, breed us the biggest,
tastiest,
fastest growing chicken.
And tastiest?
And, well, taste wasn't so much. They had to get protein in a lot of people,
pump them
right?
full of barbecue.
Because chicken used to be something that was kind of rare and you didn't have a lot of meat on it. So they found, finally, after World War II, some dude grew a chicken that was big enough to be eaten by the time it hit 15 weeks. Well, guess what? Now in 2016,
all the chickens, right?
Now in 2016, we can grow a chicken. I mean, a big, fat, plump chicken, plump chicken.
2 days or what?
I mean, well,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style?
In 6 weeks, you got basically.
It can't be healthy.
Well, first of all, it's a baby. First of all, it's a fat baby.
Oh.
It's a fat baby. Second of all, because you grow it so fast, you're right.
They're kind of cute.
The omega-3 and omega-6 ratio of oils is completely skewed. So you don't have the same kind of oil content.
Poor
so
little
they're not as
chickens.
nutritious. And they don't taste like anything.
That is weird because you can eat an entire bag of chips and just keep on. I remember as a kid, we'd go to this Brunswick bowling alley and we'd go to, there's a 7-Eleven next to it because the Brunswick had the arcade games, but we'd have to get snacks at 7-Eleven first. Mm-hmm. We'd get a bag of Doritos and then we'd open the bag up and pour in nacho cheese sauce. Have you ever done that?
That shit is delicious.
It is so unhealthy.
And nacho cheese is all flavor too.
So fresh.
Yeah.
So fresh.
All these food scientists, they even put they put flavor in animal feed too, because mostly they feed animals corn and soy, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to flavor it, and animals will eat their shit out of flavored. It's like Doritos. They're like nom nom nom.
I love a Dorito. I love a nice Cheeto. I like the hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
I love them all. I don't think I've ever seen you eat chips.
No, not really.
I didn't grow up
really
around
food.
chips.
I also didn't grow up around junk food. Remember, I grew up overseas, so we didn't get Twinkies, beef jerky, Doritos. I didn't get any of that stuff.
That sucks.
You know what I lived on?
Missed out on.
You know how I grew up, and I'm not joking. And it's thanks to my mom. I grew up eating the way the developing world ate. I ate Arabic food. I grew up on exclusively organic Arabic food. Grew on a farm, or I grew up eating rice, fish, and vegetables. I never drank milk. I never ate an American diet. And I think I'm healthier for it.
I think you've been the same no matter what.
That's what
I think you're
kid.
genetically. I mean that.
Yeah.
I think you've been fine no matter what.
It's not like.
Hey, look at me.
It's not like. Now I'm the specimen.
Relax.
Now I'm the specimen.
You know, I give tribute to my body because my mom bought me
my regular white guy golf physique. God damn it! You're so right.
I was balls deep in Little Debbie's, like the oatmeal.
You ate a lot of food.
Cream pie. Not a lot. I just had my parents just didn't know. It's whatever.
But for a big guy, you don't eat a lot. It's so weird to me. You work out like a motherfucker. You're giant and you don't eat a lot. Actually, am I wrong? Or do you binge at night?
Well, no. If I'm around it, I will. I have no control. If I'm around, it's something I like.
You're a night binger.
I don't because I don't have it in the house.
Oh, but otherwise you'd be a night binger.
Day, afternoon, night. If it's around,
so you'll eat a whole cake, no problem. If
no,
it's around.
not a whole cake. I'll feel sick, but I'll have some for sure. Like if there's donuts every morning here, I'd have a donut every morning.
Well, that's hard. That's hard to say no.
I can't. If there's pizza, I'm gonna have pizza.
Your face one time when there was pie, and you were like,
Angelino, that apple pie, that fresh.
I got it on tape.
Pie.
It's on my Instagram. He just goes like this. I see him, and he's like this, and then he turns around, then he comes back to it, and he goes, "Hey, you see that pie?"
Well, how about Justa? We saw Travis, the owner of the restaurant, making a banana custard pie.
Yeah, he's making a banana custard pie right there like a mad scientist.
How about my age? Like I've been going for this big show, and I finally got it. And I'm trying to get this information from him, and he calls me. He's like, "What's going on, man?" It's like, I wish you just be like, nothing. Hit blah blah, boom boom, bullet point, bullet point. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at Justa with Bryan." He's like, "Where's that at?" I'm like, Venice, man. He's like, "I heard that place." I'm like, "Yeah." What do they have there? I'm like, they have good bakery. They have, brisket, burgers, the best pizza in the world, salads. Anyways, man, he's like, "Well, how would I find it?" I'm like, Jesus Christ.
It's spelled GJUSTA.
Good God, man. I literally went through the whole menu, but
just Google it.
God dog.
Schuster.
But when you go through it, I mean, it's the best restaurant.
By the way, Travis is funny because only Travis would spell it GJUSTA. Like if you're gonna have a restaurant,
there's no signage either.
There's no sign. And he refuses to spell it. Even Jelena, which is his other restaurant, Gjelina. Like those are hard to spell. It's not like you Google them naturally, but he doesn't give a shit. Oh, and by the way, I'll tell you something else about Travis. Try changing the menu. Try saying, "Can you cook those eggs a little less?"
No.
He'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
I'd be the exact same way.
Yeah,
I'd be the exact same way.
He goes, "This is the suggestion. If you don't like it, it's no problem."
I would be 100% the exact same way.
He's the best.
Have you seen the new like cooking show? They have a ton of them. It's starting to get a little confusing now on Viceland, right? So Action Brunson has his cooking show where he actually does one with Travis at Jelena. He just kind of comes in and is like, "Oh shit, dog, it's so good. You know, I'm high as shit. I'm gonna eat all your food." And it's entertaining. I actually really like him. But now they have a new guy. I want to say his name is Travis too. Maybe, I forget. You might have to look it up. He has all tattoos, and he's a legit chef from I think Toronto. He's from Canada. But I turned to him. I'm like, what is Viceland doing? Like right away, I judged him. He has his shirt off, all tatted up, huge belly, and I'm like, well, I want my chef to look like that. But I'm like, what the fuck is Vice doing? Like they have Action Brunson now. They got this guy. I'm like, I'll give it a second. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I'm watching. I'm like, God damn. And it might be the best cooking show I've ever seen.
Really?
Dude,
Wait, it's called what? It's called what?
Beast of a chef.
Oh, chefs are...
You should see this guy.
Yeah.
They had one episode where they go back where he got to start in this kitchen, and the chef who taught him, like he's been a chef since he was, I think, 18. Now he has one of the best restaurants in Toronto. Now he has his own cooking show. He's just like a funny dude.
Yeah.
And it shows him, he was cooking fried chicken on one, he was cooking ribeye on another, he was cooking these baked potatoes. I mean, beast of a chef.
Yeah.
Because my problem, not my problem, with Action Brunson, I love that show, but it's no difference and he was a chef, but he comes in and they don't talk ingredients, they don't talk about the process. He just comes in, tries it. The chef of the restaurant breaks it down for him, and then he's like, "Oh, I love it. This shit's so good. I'm high." Blah blah blah. Gets out. This dude breaks it down.
Wow.
Like literally, they look very similar. It's confusing.
Because chefs are fascinating characters. Like Anthony Bourdain, if you read his book, chefs typically, and Anthony Bourdain does profiles on different chefs, like how tyrannical. They have to do everything. They have to know everything.
They're like generals.
Well, they're generals.
Line.
Straight up generals, type A personalities. You got to be both sociopath, daycare owner. You got to do everything. Toilet stopped up, fix that. Fridge is broken. It's Saturday. We can't get anybody. We fix that. You got to figure out. Man. Yeah, they can do everything. Dealing with lawsuits, everything. And by the way, you better have the best food in the world. So Fabrizio, our boy Fabrizio, owns Via Veneto, another incredible restaurant. To me,
might be the best restaurant
Via Veneto
in America.
Via Veneto.
I know, and I exaggerate a lot. I'm telling you, we've been all over.
Yes.
When I say this, it might be the best restaurant in America off Main Street.
Personally, as a guy who ate at quote unquote the best restaurant in Italy and in the world, that won Michelin's best restaurant in the world. Personally, as a guy who ate there, and I'm telling you, and you know, I've eaten all over, and New York. I agree with you. I think it might be the best restaurant in the world. Food-wise, consistently, Via Veneto for me.
It's ridiculous.
On Main Street. If you ever come to Venice, on Main Street. He's got a new restaurant.
Signage either.
No, he doesn't have a fucking sign. He's another one.
The big restaurants don't. Like Scopa doesn't, Giusta doesn't, Jelena doesn't.
He's got a new restaurant which we're going to go to called Bianconi. It's not open yet. It's on 3rd Street. I watched him.
In Hollywood.
I watched this dude. I watch him, the way he sets that restaurant, the detail. You love detail. When you see really successful people, the minutia, the detail, the lighting, the temperature in the place, the wood, the kind of wood, the kind of glass. He flips out. He is such a maniac. And when you see guys like that, when you see why the food is so good, I watch him. He's like, first of all, he's a perfectionist. You don't talk to him about other restaurants, please. I laugh so hard. If it's some new restaurant, he's like, I went there, meh, it was okay. And he's got 1,000 things. But they are such type A personalities, man. It's such a rare breed. They should do a TV show just on all the different insane chefs.
They do. They have a bunch of
Chef's Table is basically that.
Is that what it is?
Oh, it's so good.
There's so many chef shows now. There's so many.
They're fascinating.
Chef's Table is the top for me, though.
There's a kid chef show. Have you seen that?
It's awesome. I love it.
It's not bad. All right.
No, it's
Evan's
really
balls
good.
deep in this
Yeah,
stuff.
I fuck with cooking shows.
Do you cook?
I'm pretty good, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can whip some shit up.
Cooking is an art, man.
I got my master's degree in breakfast.
Oh, really?
That's my jam.
Because in restaurants,
Can you cook, Kay?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
What can you cook though?
I cook a lot of Mexican food. Like I'm good at
Like
making
real
tamales.
Mexican food?
You guys, I made those tamales that I brought you guys
Those
last
were
Christmas.
fresh as fuck.
And the salsa.
God, that's right. That was nice.
Christmas time, I can make some more.
I love that.
Yes, please.
Simplicity in cooking, but that's actually harder because making something good when it's simple, like just a good sauce, is so difficult when it's just olive oil. Like with Fabrizio, I'm like, how do you make this?
Ev, can you bring that guy up from Viceland, the guy with the tattoos?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was waiting for a time to jump in. Is it dead set on life?
Yes, I think so.
Dead set.
Big guy.
This guy, Matty.
Yes,
Matty?
that's him. He's brilliant. And I turned it on. I was like, what is Viceland doing? Some bullshit. 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Viceland's just doing the damn thing. They have a new guy who I think Aubrey Mark's been perfect for, but they have a new show coming out. I think in November. It's a guy who's just he has his black belt in drugs, in all drugs, and he goes around the world and goes to like the origins and tries all these drugs from shrooms to all this stuff, and he's doing
There's a show?
Yeah, on Viceland. It's
Viceland's
amazing.
not fucking around.
It's amazing. You should see this guy. You know,
He
white
tries
guy.
ecstasy and all that shit.
It shows him he gives the history of it. White people like it. All this stuff. It looked crazy.
Damn.
Bring that guy up, Ev.
What, Matty Matheson?
Yes.
Matty
so
Matheson.
Brian can see him.
Total stoner? Or is this the guy?
Which guy? You're talking about the drug guy or the chef?
The chef.
No, not Stone.
Okay.
No.
This guy's just got a
You
belly
see his
covered in
background.
fats.
Yeah. He's what you want your chef to look like. I don't trust skinny chefs.
I agree. That's funny you say that.
I don't trust
That is so funny you
skinny
say
chefs
that.
at all. Or out of shape trainers. I had a talk with Tony the other day about a few of his trainers.
Oh boy.
Look at that guy.
He's amazing.
I'm telling you, he's a monster.
I believe it. No, chefs are maniacs. They pay attention to the music, to the temperature in the room, to the lighting. There's so many things you don't think about.
They
You gotta be
showed
crazy.
him making donuts. Man,
He can make a
if
donut.
you want to get hungry, watch that
he
show,
can make
man.
a fucking donut, can't he?
Oh yeah, he made real fresh donuts. But then he shows how to do it at home. Like he didn't have a deep fryer. He's like, this is how you should do it. He obviously can have a deep fryer. He's a freaking world-class chef, but he just showed this vat of oil and the degrees you need it to and how you should be careful because it's hot oil and it can ruin your life. And he goes through all like and it's but you know what? He's funny. Like it's super entertaining because he's really funny.
Well, you think about it, as a chef, when you run a kitchen, you need to know human beings. You need to know people.
But not all of them are like that. Like, there's a reason this guy is a show. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why he's on TV. There's a reason why we're drawn to Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
That's not your typical looking chef.
No.
That's amazing. Look at him.
But I'm telling you, you need to watch the show. I don't know how long it's been on. I just saw it on Saturday, and I'm in, man.
You know what there's a lot of?
sold on this guy.
You know what there's a lot of in a kitchen? A whole bunch in a kitchen? A lot of cocaine.
Really?
Oh my!
How many kitchens have you worked in?
Lord, I just know a lot of chefs. I know a lot of chefs.
Did you
I know
research
a lot of
again?
Restaurant owners. Nope. Know a lot of chefs. Know a lot of restaurant owners.
Because they got to move.
There is more blow that goes on in a fucking kitchen. It's nuts. It is.
Probably
known.
depends on the kitchen,
Well,
right?
talk to Anthony Bourdain about it. Anthony Bourdain.
Well, he was a drug addict.
Well, he was a drug addict, but so was everybody. Like
He was a
worked
drug
there.
addict.
So
though.
is everybody.
Yeah, so was everybody. You don't think you're generalizing here right now?
Dude. If there's one,
I don't think
group-
Travis
if
is-
there's one workplace, if you were to go, what's the one workplace where there are more drugs, right? If you were to like do that,
Someone say strip club.
you say probably strip club. You'd be like DJ, strip club, strippers. You'd say
Bottle service girls, that whole industry.
Yeah, then you'd say like I don't know, roadies maybe, and
Well, it's
the
not a
music
job.
business
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And then you'd say, without a doubt and without question, the kitchen.
Really?
Yes, and especially of fancy restaurants, dude, where there's high pressure. They're nuts. They're nuts. I bet you.
I
if
feel
you
like we're
did
going to get some flack for that.
we're not gonna get flack for that.
No?
No.
That's known?
That's known.
cocaine
Among people
in
in the restaurant
kitchens?
business, drugs are a
I'm
big
ask
thing.
Travis.
Drugs are a big thing.
To clarify, though, we're talking about like after the restaurant has closed, right? Not like
No.
they're whipping up a tuna tartare and blasting a line
I have
in the
been
middle of
from
it.
what I from
Guacamole!
yeah, from what I have been told and seen and stuff. And again, this is anecdotal, but I've talked to a lot of people about it who are in the
of
business,
research.
who are in the business, who worked in restaurants their whole life. No, absolutely not. One of the most famous chefs, for example, Giorgio Baldi, was famous in Los Angeles. Giorgio Baldi was the most famous restaurant where every celebrity went for years. And Giorgio Baldi was, I know a lot of guys who worked with him. That guy was high all the fucking time. That guy goes,
Well, that's
1
not a
pound
good
of beef,
example,
1
B.
pound of beef. And he had code, and he'd show up. But it is a good example because there are so many stories of different chefs like that. I mean, so many celebrity chefs, so many chefs that, and drugs are a fact of life. I mean, just a lot of them do it. And a lot of people who are support and the staff do a lot of drugs. There's just, it's a place.
It's a high pressure situation.
It's a place you can function probably because it's manual and stuff where you can get away with being pretty high.
So in between them making meals, they're doing blow?
I don't know.
Or during.
I mean.
That ribeye came out so fresh and fast.
Yeah, it's one
He's
of the
on meth.
It's one of the workplaces.
It's
one of the workplaces where there's a lot of drugs.
Don't need to do.
I've never
Don't
done
even
that
need
before.
to use keys to just take a little bump ski. Just
Yeah.
pop a tortilla chip in there.
That's it.
It's true.
Blast off.
That's it. Yeah,
It is interesting. It makes sense though. It's like high pressure situation. I don't know. Cal knows more about this than me. I would assume there's some exceptions, but
Sure, there are always exceptions.
No, I'm saying the exceptions are the guys who are balls deep in drugs.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this.
And knocking out tortillas all on meth.
No. By the way, I would imagine that a lot of really successful chefs and kitchen people probably do it afterwards because if you see like some of these kitchens,
Well, everyone likes to party.
The way these kitchens are run, like the military precision that they're run by, like we're going into the kitchen of the #1 restaurant in Italy. That place, those people work there, but they start at 11. It is so organized, it is so clean, and it's run like a military boot camp.
Most
or
of them are,
something.
man.
Yeah.
There's like like general sergeants and there's
Yes.
a chain of command.
Yes. And you, as a chef, you need to be.
And if you want to have the
be
most,
general.
I mean, watch Ratatouille.
Ratatouille is a good example.
For reals.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Because they're precision. Yeah. When every dish has to be perfect.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So the point is, if you want to be a chef, here's the point. If you want to be a successful
Be a
chef,
drug addict.
do a lot of blow. I said it. I mean, that's what I got from the story.
Definitely could.
Yeah. Cocaine isn't conducive to success, though.
Get extremely high. Go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you'll be an A-list chef.
Oh, and by the way, I'm sure that a lot of restaurants have gone under because of drugs. So
sure.
I'm not saying it makes it for a successful restaurant, but certainly.
You're saying it's part, like, it's pretty predominant in the restaurant business.
Yes. Yeah.
Even at Burger King and McDonald's and stuff?
I don't know.
You'd say even more so.
I would say more so. I would if I had to guess, I'd say more so in high-end restaurants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Or at least better quality of drugs.
Because they can afford that pure cocaine.
Probably because they can afford the cocaine.
I don't know, man.
guess.
That's on Bryan. Send hate mail to Bryan Callen.
That's it.
All the Chefs of Fighter and the Kid fans are going to be coming out of the woodwork after this one.
Or they might be like, hey, come on by.
Come on by and
we
do some
line 'em up.
lines.
They call me Pablo Escobar of spaghetti.
Have you ever been in an event, like a place where all of a sudden like everything dies down and all of a sudden everybody's doing blow? Like, you ever been at a party like that?
I really have. I've been to a party where I saw it, but not really.
Yeah.
I've really never been around it.
Because I was at a
Everyone says in Hollywood, like, it's everywhere. I assume they are, but I don't.
I was at a comedy club, and I won't, of course, say which one it was, but I was at a comedy club, and after the show, it was like Saturday night, and everything was dying down, and I kid you not, everybody was just blatantly sharing lines over on a table.
Like, it's just normal.
And I was like, God damn, you guys are highest. And I was like, I felt like everybody was jacked before this. And they just kept the party on going. But, it's one thing to be like, usually when you do blow, you're like, let's do it in the bed. These guys were like, let's light it out. Like, and they're like, you want to try
like
something?
it was hummus.
I got to wake up in the morning. Yeah, it's
like
not
it was hummus in Hollywood.
It's not 1989, guys.
It is weird. Like, I don't have a problem with it. If you're down to do it, I don't judge.
No, I don't care.
I've never done cocaine. Uppers, I just can't get down with, man. I need my sleep, man. I don't want my heart racing to 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't see the point of it.
I had a doctor tell me I had to go get a physical. And the doctor they usually use was sick or something. So they sent me to this Russian woman. And I had to get, when you do a movie or a TV show, you have to get a physical. And she was so interesting because she did all my stuff. And she said, you are, I think I was 36 or 37. She goes, always make sure you no cocaine, because your heart after you are, my Russian accent's the worst. After you are 30, it's like, she told me it's like rolling, it's like Russian roulette. She goes, some people's hearts just can't take it, and it can be cut with a lot of speed. She goes, so you're spinning the bullet and putting it. I never forgot that. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm not fucking having my heart stopped. It would suck.
Because you got the nose for it.
I got kids. I don't want to be like, he died from
Dad
doing
died
blow.
of cocaine?
I don't do blow. The one time I do it.
I'm going to have to tell my girl, my family, like, hey, listen, I might be around some skeptical shit. If I do die of something like that, let's go over a list of what you guys could tell my kids that I died from.
Right.
Let's just go over this before this gets out.
That's so true. I do not want to. The one time, I'll do a line. I'm celebrating.
Yeah, like I've never tried any of that stuff. I'd be the one guy like, I might as well. I don't have anything coming up. Dead.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to it.
Didn't the guy from the OxyClean guy die from coke? Remember the guy in the commercials?
I believe he did.
The bald guy?
Billy
No,
Mays? That guy?
I don't know his name. He
I
had
know
like
who you're talking
brown,
about.
shaggy hair.
Yeah, I think he did die. That motherfucker was crunk for those infomercials.
I know.
He's talking a million miles an hour, squeezing
Oh,
shit
that's the
out.
ShamWow dude. That's what you're thinking.
No, he's OxyClean.
OxyClean, yeah. There are guys.
Fuck it, doesn't matter.
I would venture to say that all of us know at least one person who is a cokehead and a coke addict, and we don't even know it.
God, I don't know any.
I do know. I know some people who you're like, interesting.
There's functioning alcoholics.
Yes.
There's functioning drug addicts where if they don't have it, you're like, you all right, man?
Yeah. Although cocaine is hard to hide. Like cocaine seems to be more.
I'll tell you right now,
devastating.
I think's a drug addict in here.
Oh, Michaela, 100%.
She just looks like she rages on the weekends.
Well, first of all, why does she wear long
we're
sleeves?
telling her she's all.
Well, that's because she's Jones.
She's all, why, you got some?
Oh, no, dude. there's
No, I don't.
Nothing left of her veins. She's shooting between her toes.
She's licking it.
She's shooting between her toes. She's a heroin.
What party? What
addict.
club was that at, Brian, where they were doing open lines of coke?
Yep. No, she's more of an opiate girl. She's not into coca. She's into shooting up, which is why she's always wearing long sleeves, hiding them veins.
I saw a tattoo on her neck said "Black tar is life."
Black tar is
Black
life.
tar equals life. Just gangster as fuck.
You got any
we
black
find
tar?
out she's just a gangster as fuck.
Well, she robs us. Just a knife to our throat. Michaela?
Walk out to the car.
It's not Michaela.
like, I have
Bad
to
voice.
do this.
She's got her hood on. It's not Michaela.
Was she Batman?
I can see her black tar. I can see her black tar is lightning. This is Batman.
Why would she talk like
It's
that?
not Batman, Michaela. You smell like perfume and you look really cute.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Let's jump into some current events.
Why are you doing Batman?
Why would she turn into Batman?
I don't know.
And rob you?
This is Batman. Now give me your money.
Michaela, I'm not getting you any black tar. Heroin.
All right. First current event. This was just announced about 20 minutes ago on The Herd. Ronda Rousey is returning at UFC 207 to fight Amanda Nunes
It's exciting.
for the title, obviously.
Damn. Damn.
B?
I'm very excited about it. It's going to be interesting because Amanda Nunes is a beast, and she's got amazing hands. She's an aggressor. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I don't know what to think of this. If I had to put my money on it, I would put it on Amanda Nunes only because Ronda's been out for so long. But if there's anybody who can come back and be a fucking world beater, it's Ronda Rousey.
I'll say this. I think, we got to know where Ronda's headspace is at. Does she want to come back? Does she really want this? Taking that much time off as a champ, it's and you can say, oh, well, she has movie and stuff. To me, something else is going on there. Maybe, this game's easy when you're starching everyone. It's fun being a bully and being on top. That's a bad reference calling her a bully, but it's as great as she is when you lose one and the world claps on you. And, she's the reason why there's women's MMA in this world, especially in the UFC. So she's the face of it. My only concern is, Conor McGregor loses a fight, chomping at the bit to get back in there. John Jones, with it chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
When I see this long layoff, and in some interviews she's talked about retirement, that means the seed's in there. And she has so many other options. Hopefully she's doing it for the right reasons. That being said, Ronda at 50% beats Amanda Nunes. Ronda thinking about doing Lethal Weapon 9 beats Amanda Nunes.
Why do you say that?
I think it's the perfect matchup. I think if Ronda just does her thing. Amanda Nunes is an aggressor. Everyone knows that's the worst thing to do with Ronda. She's going to get a hold of you, then you're going for a ride. I don't give a fuck if she's a 5th degree black belt on the ground. Ronda's jiu-jitsu you really can't train for. It's in transitions. She's submitted, girls who are very good on the ground. Kat Zingano's a stud on the ground. She was, I think, a blue belt world champion. Granted, it's blue belt, but she's still very versed in grappling, and she got submitted in 14 or 16 seconds. Perfect matchup for Ronda to come back to. Huge card. The UFC needs her. I hope she wins. The UFC really needs her to win. They need a celebrity of her status to come back out. Now, after this is where it gets interesting because with and I'm not disrespecting Amanda Nunes at all. I think
her hands are better than Ronda's?
Different. I think she's an amazing fighter. I think Amanda's a complete animal. I just think Ronda is in a league of her own. If she's focused and and she trains properly for the fight, which Ronda's never not came ready for a fight. So right. Stylistically it's a great matchup for Ronda.
But I think Amanda
Nunes beats the rest of the division. I just think Ronda's a different animal. But after this fight is where it gets interesting. Does Ronda take another year off, another year and a half off? Because then you're not really a champ. Especially if you beat Amanda, you can't take that long time off because then you're just you're holding up the division. And now the huge question, after you beat Amanda, what else you can do? You can fight Misha again. You can fight Holly, who's lost 2 now. But it's not there. Now you got this fucking Brazilian monster looming in the shadows named Cyborg.
Yeah,
that
different weight class. I'm going to say different weight class.
No. She's already said she'd come to her at 40, meet her at 40. So take the weight class out of it. That's the one matchup that everyone wants to see and be the biggest pay-per-view of all time.
Bad idea, and I don't want to see it. But I'll tell you something right now. I think Amanda Nunes, I think her hands are better. And I'll tell you something else, and you have to take this into account. I just wonder if Ronda is easier to plan for, and I don't know if she's still training with Edmond. And as we know,
of course she is.
Yeah, and I don't know how effective Edmond is as a coach. I think he's a pure boxer. You're talking about Amanda Nunes. You've got that other woman who beat who beat Kahali, who's a 17-time Muay Thai champion. These women now are getting to a point where it feels like a different division. And Amanda Nunes' hands, and her athleticism, I don't know.
You want to bet on it, B?
I do. I think I hate betting against Ronda because I don't want to see her lose again. But Amanda Nunes is a beast.
I just think I don't think Ronda would do it. And there's so much. If she loses again, you're talking end of this story. That's the way this movie ends.
Right.
I don't think she'd take this fight if she was kind of half-assed in it or if she wasn't into it. I think Ronda starches her.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think it's a great matchup for her.
Wow.
Amanda's a phenomenal champion, and it's just a tough matchup.
Can I ask you this? Because Ronda essentially throws judo, she doesn't do any wrestling, right? She's judo primarily. Isn't judo for someone who trains for it easy to neutralize in MMA? Yeah, as far as like not getting taken down?
Now you're talking about, first of all, Ronda's the most dominant UFC champion, one of the most dominant UFC champions just using judo. Right. So it's obviously working. You know what I'm saying?
Until you have a team that plans for it and trains for it.
You don't think every team that she's ever fought planned for judo toss? And how'd that go for her?
I would say that people she fought, I think Amanda Nunes might be a different situation here.
So you think Amanda Nunes is different than Kat Zingano, Misha Tate?
Well, Kat beat Amanda. So,
And she lasted 16 seconds.
And how'd she do it?
I don't remember. I didn't see it.
Just working off of Amanda's forward pressure, forward aggression, and if you just go to the key moments in that fight, they were all big throws and tosses from the clinch because Amanda overcommitted on her punches.
She only knows how to fight
always does.
Style.
She knows how to. She brawls. She's going to come forward, and Ronda's going to grab onto her, and like Brendan said, go for a ride. And if Kat Zingano can grab those kind of tosses and take those positions from grappling in the clinch, then Ronda sure as shit can too.
Yeah, there's a reason.
I'm very much on your side.
Yeah, it's a perfect matchup. Stylistically, it's great matchup.
Wow.
Couldn't be a better one.
That's interesting. I don't want to bet.
No, you don't want to bet. I don't want to take your money.
You're very confident in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This isn't a good bet for you, and you still owe me money, so I'm not betting until you pay me that money. There's no more betting. And plus, this one is just not.
Yeah.
It's not fair. You don't kind of know what you're talking about there. Because with the whole judo thing, the women's division is different. Everyone plans for it. You can't duplicate Ronda's explosiveness and transitions.
Right. That's the thing.
She's the perfect matchup for Ronda. Unless she has the skill to just completely change her demeanor, what got her to the dance and become a counterpuncher all of a sudden, which doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Be fun to see though.
Yeah, I will say I feel like if Amanda tries to if Ronda tries to box with Amanda, she's gonna. It's pretty easy to get punched in the face by Amanda Nunes, and she looks like she hits hard and accurately. I'm really impressed with her striking.
No, she looks great, man.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
What else?
Yet again, another women's fight I'm looking forward to as much as I am to any man's fight. And if you told me that 4 years ago, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. And that's what's amazing about the UFC. So I guess I'm a feminist. I believe in meritocracy.
What else you got, Ev?
All right,
and I'm not a progressive liberal. Keep going. Fuckers.
So Jose Aldo is supposed to meet with the UFC brass in Vegas today, I believe, this morning, to discuss his contract and retirement kind of deal. He says that he has no interest in fighting anymore at all, not for any other organization. He wouldn't leave the UFC and fight somewhere else. He considers the UFC to be the top of the line. He also considers his interim belt to be the belt, which he said he wanted to retire as champion, and that in his mind he's doing that now. So I guess he's going to meet with the UFC brass with his lawyer and manager, and is looking to solve this situation, which is probably going to end in his retirement, it sounds like.
But when solve what? If you want to retire, just you're done. Just there's no reason to even have a lawyer there, unless
He wants out of his contract or something.
But he doesn't want to fight MMA is what he's saying. So it doesn't out of contract for what? I don't get why he's doing it.
This is a quote from Aldo. I have no desire to fight again. I don't have any excitement to fight anymore. I have other projects in my life. I want to retire as champion, and I'm the champion today. I want to follow another path.
Good for him, man.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Because the one fight I bet could bring him out of retirement would be the fight with Conor McGregor, but Conor can't make 45 anymore. He's not going to wait around for that.
Conor just can't make it.
I think so. I think it's too tough for him. Especially if Conor were to beat Eddie Alvarez, and the 145 belt is vacant. So for Jose, good for him, man. I wonder what with the UFC. I guess he'll be like the face of Brazilian, helping the relations out there. Although Nogueira does it now. I don't know, man.
I don't know. His attitude doesn't seem like he would want to work for the UFC in any capacity.
Then why is he there?
I don't know.
So
he's got to feel very bitter. And even Dana was talking about it. Dana was talking about how he said, I get it. He got a raw deal. He wanted to fight again. He got knocked out. He wanted to redeem himself. And here he is in sort of on the shelf while Conor's fighting, Nate. And even
Eddie.
Dana said, I didn't want him to fight the second fight with Nate. And now he's fighting Eddie. And that's what Conor wants to do. What Conor wants to do, Conor gets.
Dana did not say that.
That's kind of what he said.
He did not. There's no way he said.
I
what
swear
Conor
to God.
wants, Conor
well,
gets.
but basically he said Conor.
Do you have this?
It was
interview?
on. It was on. I listened to it on YouTube. It was on Jim Norton and Matt Serra's podcast.
He said what Conor
kind
wants.
of. I might be paraphrasing, but it was something like that's what Conor wants, and there's essentially what he's saying was that he's
because Conor wants the third fight with Nate Diaz, and Dana's saying no.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No, it does make sense.
The third fight with Nate?
Yes, because it's 1-1, isn't it?
Yeah, but I want to see him fight the 55ers. I want to
It'd be
see him
Nate
fight
at
the
55.
champ. Well, what I want to do is see him let him beat Eddie Alvarez.
And then fight Nate?
Yeah. And then avoid Khabib. And then hope Khabib
Doesn't
gets
work
hurt.
like that. But yeah, you might, yeah. I mean, those words would not come out of Dana White's mouth.
Yeah.
What Conor wants, Conor gets, there's no way.
Kind of what he said, though.
Yeah, I mean,
In other words, Conor's the show. I think that's kind
He's
of
the
what
draw. He's saying he's the draw, so
Yeah.
they're showing favoritism toward that's it. It's entertainment.
business.
It's entertainment. It sucks for Jose. Man, hopefully, I've always been a fan of Jose. That sucks. Well, I mean, he's had a great run, man. It's really not that sad of a story.
One of the best ever.
He's the champ. He's still the interim
He's not
champ.
injured, or he's
Well,
not.
we don't know. We don't know any of that. We don't personally know him, but what we do know is he's walking away as champ, and he's fought in the UFC for a very long time.
Is he still in his 20s?
I think so.
I think he's 28, maybe 29.
I wonder what other works he has going on. Wish him the best, though, man. Talk about a
shit.
stud.
30.
He's 30.
Good for him, man.
Young.
Yeah.
It's time
and
to do it.
Hasn't taken a ton of damage.
That's a lot of years. On a
He had some wars with Chad Mendes. He's had some wars, man. He's had some wars for sure.
First Mendez fight ended in the first, and second Mendez fight
went to distance.
I mean, that was definitely a fucking
That was
war.
a war.
That was a
he got
war
dropped.
For sure.
Yeah. He's had some wars, man. That long career, you're gonna have
Frankie
some wars.
Edgar was a. I don't think he took a lot of punishment. It was more of a wrestling thing, but
Seems fine though.
Yeah.
Good for him, man. What else you got, Ev?
Next one we got is your boy Timmy T. Tim Tebow. I mean, the guy's amazing. A man was having a seizure at the minor league game for the team he's playing on, and goes down having a seizure. One news reporter for ABC tweeted out that the guy wasn't breathing, and that Tim puts his hand on the guy, starts saying prayer, and the guy comes back to life, basically.
coughs back to life.
Yeah, I think this
Put a little Holy Ghost
I think this
power
is
in.
video of it right here.
That's
I
him
think
after. Yeah,
Tim's-
Tim's
yeah.
just chilling there. I saw this.
There's Tim.
Tim's awesome.
And Tim stayed with the guy for like 30 minutes till the ambulance got there and took him off. Like,
He's such a good guy.
He's just
He's such a good guy.
He's so much closer to heaven than all of us.
There's
so
not a
much
more
closer.
pro Tim Tebow room in the world than this one.
How could you not be pro Tim Tebow? Like, how can you hate on that? How in the world does the internet hate on that?
I don't know. He's awesome.
They'll find something. It's hilarious. Good for him, though, man. Well, good for that guy for having the next closest thing to Jesus Christ touch him at a very dire time. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe Tim is the Messiah. Maybe he's the second coming, and we don't know.
Well, if anyone got cut from the Jets, I hear you.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, just another day in the life of Timmy T. Just
saving one life at a
Just
time.
saving guys.
Guys, hold on. Put my hand on him. And I don't know CBR, but let me just put my hand on him and pray.
How crazy is that?
I'll bring him back. I got it.
I got
this with my Holy Ghost energy.
Then in the Philippines, I think we mentioned this on yesterday's podcast. In the Philippines, he was flying there to do some charity work, and a guy on the plane had a heart attack, and Timmy saved him. CPR.
There you go.
Why do people keep falling around him?
Because if you're gonna die around him. Is that the light at the end of the tunnel? No, that's just Timmy's eyes.
It's Timmy's eyes.
Look at his
son.
symmetry.
It's pretty cool though, man. Special dude.
Best looking guy I've ever seen in my life in person. Makes you look like a turd with eyes.
Yeah, he really does. He really does.
And I don't mean to be mean to you because you're a good looking kid, but don't kid yourself.
No, I'm very aware
man.
where I stand in this.
Just a beautiful man.
Now think about you next to me and him.
Well, I look like a worm. I look like a human worm, and I'm aware of it. I look like a malnourished worm.
You look like Kermit the Frog if Jim Henson made like older versions.
You know what?
Like if it aged with Kermit.
Do you know
look
when
like
I got
Kermit the
embarrassed?
Frog next
you know
to
when I
us.
got embarrassed? I was embarrassed once. I was deadlifting 145 pounds for reps, and I was looking at my left arm and how skinny it was, and I was like, God damn! And you and Tim walked in. And I think you or Tim went, whoa, there he is lifting weights. And I was like, and I put the weight down and I walked away from it. I was like, I literally dropped it. I was like, because I'm
no
such a
one's judging
pussy.
you. And what do you think we're going to come in? What is that? 450, Bryan Callen?
Well,
good job.
Well, I just feel like but it's so. Here I am with these two monsters who are real athletes, and you don't like working out. Maybe it's a little bit like trying to sing around real singers or something. You're like, I don't want to sing. What am I doing here? It was actually
It's a
a
little
weird
different,
feeling.
though.
I felt embarrassed.
That's your own insecurities.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to say, I mean,
That's right.
working
It's
out.
100%.
Everyone's in there working out,
Yep.
though.
Well, I feel like a bitch when I'm,
I had some guy yesterday when I walked into the gym started pitching me on this stretch. I get weird shit all the time, man. It's a classic. You could write a book on the shit people bitch. But I walk in, this guy was, I don't want to say, you'll know who he is. I'll tell you after the show who he is. But he's like, oh, do you know blah, blah, blah? I'm like, I was just coming in there. I had a little time off. Just wanted to get a workout.
Everybody's got a gimmick.
And he goes, do you know, boy? He stretches and he's also a life coach.
Oh, he's a stretch and life coach.
And then he also does jiu-jitsu.
Great. Stretch, life, and jiu-jitsu.
And I looked him right in the eye and went, I'm all set, man. He goes, what? And I went, I'm all set. I don't need any of that. And he goes, all right, I mean, it could be good on it. I don't have time. Thank you, though. Have a good day.
Oh, you want to be
I'm
my
all set.
life coach?
I'm all set.
At my age especially? How about
Excuse me,
that?
sir, I'm all set.
I can improve
a guy
your
who's gonna
effectiveness
stretch me
by
out,
40%.
And the guy who's going to stretch me out whisper positive things in my ear and then grapple with me. Shit, man. Yeah, I'll order 10 privates first of never. Is that available?
No, this is what you say. You go, what do you do? Go ahead, tell me. What do you do?
I like to stretch your body up, but I also like to stretch your mind because I'm a life coach.
Nice. I have a question. How do you work a dick? Answer the question.
Well, that's extra charge.
You can't help me. And then you just walk away.
No, I'd say that's extra charge.
That's extra. Huh. And you look at me and go, I got big palms.
Well, I got big palms, but now you're talking about gay for pay.
Is that what we're talking about?
That's on the... See, I haven't given you my package yet.
Oh, I didn't know that. You got gay for pay.
I got gay for pay. It's on the very back end.
Huh. I got some money. What would you charge, say, for a rough hand job?
The rough hand
What would you
job?
charge for a rough HJ? Let me see your hands. You got calluses on there?
What's an HJ?
Like me some calluses.
What's a ZJ? If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
What else you got, Ev?
That's a wrap.
Did you see
rough tongue
this morning when I was reading the
Should
news?
work my undergarments.
There's we talked about Derrick Rose, the case with Derrick Rose. Mm-hmm. The lead investigator out of Whittier, California, was randomly shot dead this morning.
What? Who's Dick Rose?
You disappoint me.
Sake.
Sorry.
Your shirt wrinkly. You got a cut on your forehead.
I know. That's why you were laughing at me.
I was just like, God damn it.
Between
Derrick
that-
Rose. Derrick Rose.
Oh, Derrick Rose.
MVP of the NBA a couple years ago, plays the New York Knicks.
The guy was accused of rape?
Yeah, accused of rape.
Right.
The lead investigator in Whittier, California, he got shot to death.
What?
Says
Called
suicide.
a likely suicide.
Oh, maybe it's a suicide. All right.
Single gunshot wound
Super
to the
suspect,
chest.
Well, maybe people do that. What a bummer.
Super suspect, though, right? Lead investigator, and you're in the thick of it.
That's rough.
Suicide.
I don't know. Those detectives see so much shit. It's tough.
Said the firearm was recovered at the scene. So
It's weird, right?
that's
Whittier,
kind of makes
California.
a little more sense. Yeah, Whittier's sketchy.
Shot himself in the chest.
Herself.
Oh, it's a chick.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Wow.
dog.
That's weird.
Is there any foul play, as they say on Forensic Files?
At the time, there are no signs of foul play, and this incident is being investigated as a suicide. However, this is an ongoing investigation,
Ooh.
so
They
shit
can
could
tell.
change.
Give it a couple days. Let it simmer.
Yeah. A lot of people don't
'Cause
know
this
that
got-
Derrick Rose is good friends with Vladimir Putin.
Because this has foul play written all over
This
it.
has foul play.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Likely
Wow.
suicide. God damn, lady can't finish the case.
That's rough.
I figured maybe one of Derrick Rose's boys from back in the day was like, I'll take care of this.
Well, they just get another investigator.
Yeah, but maybe she was like the Sherlock Holmes of chicks.
She had some special dirt on him.
Yeah.
In there with her.
She's about to drop it.
Yeah.
Is that it, Ev?
Well, it's a
That's
bummer.
it.
That is a bummer.
Sucks.
Rest in peace, young lady.
Rest in peace, young lady.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
I was going to do dropping knowledge.
Do you have one?
I do.
Oh, you do? You came? Okay. What's up, dog? Drop some knowledge. I could use some knowledge on Wednesday.
Typically, when you know what they consider a monopoly, like so, a monopoly would be like of companies when they come in with
They own
antitrust.
everything.
You know what an antitrust law is? Antitrust laws are essentially to stop monopolies.
Yes.
So if there's a monopoly selling one product, and they can get together. And
Sir, you're referring to mixed martial arts right now. The UFC has a monopoly.
and that's why I wanted to bring it up.
What they're saying is did they acquire this monopoly the right way?
Yes.
That's where.
And
the
that's what I
problem is.
wanted to bring up because I know you live under a monopoly, so this will be
Well, I
close to
don't
your heart.
anymore.
Yeah, but you did. And,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
I
very
did.
hard to have recourse. So we have antitrust laws that come in and say, look, you got to break this up. You guys have too much power and you're setting prices and you're the only game in town. And there's an article that I urge a lot of people to read in the New York Times Magazine, and it's by different people about, food experts. Now, we talk a lot, like Rogan is very critical of factory farming, and this guy who wrote The Dorito Effect is critical of factory farming. So, when you have that many animals in one space, but what people don't realize is that factory farming also feeds a lot of us very cheaply. So the food may not be the best taste and the best quality. And
Talking about fast food?
all foods, but we have done a very good job of, getting foods to be stable in price and getting a lot of protein and carbohydrates into the stomachs of a lot of people, which used to be very difficult. So you have to give at least credit to the fact that, yes, we probably, and by the way, we do too much of it. So the leading cause of death is, heart disease, and a lot of it's obesity and diabetes. Diabetes is a major problem. So what's really killing us in this country isn't terrorism, it's food, and it's bad food, and it's processed food, and it's the food business. However, you have to give credit where it's due with the fact that sometimes that's better than being hungry and starving. It's also better than going to IHOP and them saying, you know what, eggs today are actually, they're $3 instead of what they usually are, which is $1, or they're $10 because our chickens in our local farm didn't produce as many chickens. So the prices would fluctuate. And also what would happen is, remember this, when they talk about bringing back the family farm, which I'm a fan of, and we have a lot of farmers markets and we need more family farms, because remember, most farms are huge conglomerates. Because what happens is one farmer's really good at producing eggs, for example, and then you may not be that good at producing eggs. And you can't really compete. You don't have as many eggs. So what he'll do is he'll come over and say, let me buy your farm from you. Let me buy it. Because he's better at it. And I got more machinery and more automation. Then he'll say, let me buy your farm over there. And pretty soon he starts buying all the farms up, and you get what? A huge conglomerate. And so there's a lot of people that say, if you went back to family farming, what would happen is that there'd be more price fluctuation. And ultimately what would happen is, one farm would be better than the other farms, and they would buy up all the farms around them, and you'd have this. The set point would be what we have now, which is big agriculture. That's an argument. I don't know. I get in trouble when I start talking too much about farming, and I also want to be really careful about having a point of view on farming when I read a bunch of articles in the New York Times.
You also said every chef's on drugs.
That's right. And every chef is a drug addict. Now, and
you throw some claims around.
Yeah, which I didn't say. I was just saying there's a lot of drugs in kitchens. But one thing I do think is I always try to eat, and you always eat, we like to eat foods that have been organically farmed, foods that have come from smaller farms.
I went to McDonald's yesterday.
I want to know where I'm eating, but well, okay.
I had McDonald's breakfast yesterday morning.
Okay, so typically in a monopoly, you consider it a monopoly if 4 companies produce or own 40% of the profits. So there are 40%, make up 40% of the marketplace. Well, in when it comes to big agriculture, let's just take beef slaughter, for example. 4 companies own 82% of all the meat that is packaged and owned. And when it comes to like the percentage of corn and soy processing, roughly 85% of that production is owned by 4 companies or more. Bayer plans to buy Monsanto, which promises to increase the concentration of both seed and agriculture.
So B, let's make it clear. So you're saying there shouldn't be a monopoly on this?
Well, the problem with a monopoly, and big agriculture makes up the seed companies, the insecticide companies. It makes up the people that rear and slaughter your food. It makes up the people that package then that meat. And at the top of that are the grocery stores and the fast food chains.
So you're saying yes to monopoly in this case?
I'm saying actually, I'm talking about the problem. Yeah. I'm talking about the problem with it. When you have that kind of concentration, what happens is they have a very strong lobbying group in Washington, and they can get Washington to basically say, "You want to regulate us? You want to break us up? Fuck you!" And they have a very strong political presence in Washington, and in many ways that is kind of a threat in many ways to our environment, because they're not as closely regulated with agricultural runoff. There's a lot of pollution, a lot of greenhouse gases that are caused by agriculture, like by big agriculture. And also when you have the food source that's concentrated in such small areas, it's very easy to disrupt. So it'd be a really good target for
ISIS?
Yes, for terrorism. These are just arguments that are made by people like Michael Pollan and stuff. So there's an argument for factory farming, feeds a lot of people, but there's also
a lot of demand.
Like so when Michelle Obama decided to start growing a garden in the White House, seems simple, right? And it was an organic garden. She was using insects that kill off the other insects.
How bored is she?
Dude, when she used the word organic, the Cattlemen's Association, the petrochemical, all of these insecticide, all of these huge conglomerates that control our big agriculture flipped the fuck out. But this is why you'll like this. When Obama said, let's bring back family farming, and they held hearings, the Justice Department held hearings, and farmers had to basically talk about how, because there's only one player in town and they grow cattle, they have to sell that cattle to really one player. And that player sets the price. I mean, he sets the price. Now, you can complain, but when you complain or you make noise the way some of these farmers did, and when these farmers were saying, they were so terrified, they were like, if I start talking about how I'm forced to grow chickens and forced to sell my chickens at a certain price, I could lose my livelihood. Because a lot of times, according to these farmers, and there are a lot of them that say this, and this is just from the article, guys. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I'm just saying, according to this article in the New York Times, a lot of them, these companies will just go, oh, really?
Shut them out.
They just won't buy from you. They just won't buy from you.
They're
Shut you out, put you out of business.
Yeah.
And your margins, your profit margins when you're a cattle farmer are very, very small. So it's just a really interesting thing to hear about how,
keep your chickens happy.
There it is. It's just interesting to hear about how our food, we don't know where our food really comes from. And there's a dark side to big agriculture. There's also a positive side to big agriculture, which you won't hear from people and, like me who critical of it. But there is a positive side. However, it's really hard for people who grow our food. It's fucking hard, and it's hard for them to make a living. And they are caught in these contracts. So it's just an interesting. Read the article. It's really, really good. It's it's in New York Times Magazine. It was really interesting to me to hear about the food that I eat every day. There are people that pay a heavy price for that shit.
Yes, sir.
And they work
Let's do
hard.
some fan questions, Evan.
Let's do it. All right, first fan question. With former athletes like Johnny Morton, Jose Canseco, and Marcus Jones, do you think there should be an Ultimate Fighter version for these athletes so they can actually have some experience in matches as well as starting out like all the other men and women competing in MMA?
I think it's a great idea. It's a great concept for the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I was hating on their last Ultimate Fighter. I think it's going right now with Demetrius Johnson, but it's actually really good. It's the best season in a long, long time with all those world champions from other organizations. What a cool Ultimate Fighter. Have all ex-athletes, like professional athletes, jump in there and do it, and you have some big names.
It's amazing.
Now, don't get it twisted, though. Even if, and you're talking a guy who came from the Ultimate Fighter, I'm a product of the system, the Ultimate Fighter is still not real. That show's not real. This season it is, because you're fighting high-caliber world champion pros. This is the first season where it's actually real. But if you had all ex-athletes, former professional athletes on there, and they fight each other, it might be a shit show. And then when they get to the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter is not the UFC, so they still have a ton of work to do. But it's a great idea.
So who are the other athletes? Jose Canseco, and who are the two?
They're just going back over time.
Yeah.
Those guys don't fight anymore. They don't matter.
Yeah.
She was just using them as reference. They don't.
I love the idea. I think it's really interesting.
I don't know if you have enough. I mean, you could have Greg Hardy on there, just the black sheep of the crew.
Greg Hardy.
You have Greg Hardy.
And
you have Sean Merriman.
You'd have to get all guys in the same weight class. So basically, it would probably turn into like a giant pool of ex-NFL, big college football players.
Yikes.
And baseball players, maybe some rugby guys.
Probably more ex-NFL players, because if they have to be pro,
And you have to be the same weight class.
It'd be a
probably heavyweight.
Yeah.
Because Sean Merriman wants to fight MMA. Greg Hardy wants to. I'd pay to watch Greg versus Sean Merriman. My money's on Sean for sure.
Yikes. Beasts.
What else you got, Ev?
Oh, this is an interesting one. Who and when was your first kiss?
Go ahead and scroll through that memory bank, Callan.
Gee whiz. He was a limo driver in his 40s, I remember. But he had really good candy, so and that's all I remember. He tasted like coffee.
Kissing that
tasted
dick.
like coffee and mustache. That's so sick. Yeah, I don't know. I remember. I thought I was gonna faint. It was like I was young. I was like 12, and I made out with her, and I thought I was gonna faint.
What grade is that?
I felt this whoosh, like this whole
It
like
is
my
weird.
12's
my
like
ears.
5th or 6th grade? I think 5th.
I don't know. I didn't have any hair on my dick. I'll tell you that much. But I just felt this whoosh, like this whooshing feeling, and I was like, "Oh,
like the movies.
crazy!" I remember the first time I went down on a girl. Sorry, everybody, but
Hey, bro, just ask him how to kiss. Don't want to hear your creepy stories.
14 years old, and I was like,
gosh.
And I was like, and I remember reading it in a book.
Was this in Bangladesh or some shit?
I remember reading a book called The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, and he describes, by Junot Diaz, an amazing Dominican Republic writer, and he said that when he went down on the girl, it tasted like Heineken. And as I look back on it, that's exactly what it tasted like.
Heineken?
Like bitter beer. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do here, but I guess I'm just going to start licking. It was interesting.
Boy,
I know.
You really took that to another level.
Sorry.
I love how everything relates back to books with you.
I know.
Even going down on chicks comes right back to a book.
Great book.
Mine was in,
Amazing.
I think, 4th or 5th grade too. I forget her name. I remember she was a mixed black and white girl. She was a mulatto girl.
All right.
I remember that. That's all I really
What's wrong with
remember.
that?
And I remember it was in like by a basketball court, and my Aunt Nubby, who picked me up from school every day, was like far away in her car. I was like, God, I hope Nubby doesn't see me.
Yeah.
And the girl, she kind of grabbed me and kissed me. That's all I remember.
What's the first time you actually had a sexual experience? Have you ever gone down on a girl? Are you afraid of that?
My memory's just, when it comes to that stuff, I'm trying to think the first, I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I had a long time girlfriend.
Really?
It was on New Year's, and her dad walked in on us.
When did you first start jerking off?
I don't know, man.
How old were you, bro?
Get less creepy.
How old were you?
Why do you get so weird?
Because I want to know how
If
old
we
you
were the same age, we could play this banter. But when you're older like this, it makes all of us uncomfortable.
Son, tell me the first time you touched your dick.
Well, you move on.
You can't talk about it, huh?
It's just weird, man. I don't.
Was it high school?
I honestly don't remember.
I'm embarrassed.
Do you
huh?
remember?
I'm embarrassing you a little bit.
Not at all. Do you? It's creepy. I didn't want to get.
I was rubbing my tutu, quote unquote, when I was a kid. I don't remember.
Well, no shit.
I was
We're all
grinding
kids.
in the bed.
But
5, 6, I don't know.
It's harder. Yeah, it's harder to remember. Yeah, exactly.
So same thing.
I don't remember.
As far back as
I don't
you can remember.
I don't
Okay,
remember.
So a long time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember having just rock hard boners and like, what the fuck, man?
I remember
In
asking my dad what that
sweats.
was. I go, well, what is
I
going
didn't ask
on
my
here?
dad.
And he goes, you mean when your dick goes like that? I go, yeah. He goes, it's called an erection. He explained it to me. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. I got to pee. I wake up in the morning and my dick is
It is
fucking,
weird,
I'm
yeah.
walking around. I'm a little kid and I got a 9-inch dick. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this thing?
I remember the Birds and the Bee talk. Miss Famularo gave it. Like all the whatever grade it was in, elementary, put like the 3 classes together, so all 3 teachers were up there. And it was like, they're like, you ready? Like, shut the doors, and everyone's like sitting Indian style, like some assholes on the ground. And they're all, today we're going to talk about the birds and the bees. She's like, does anyone have any idea what we're talking about? Like, and they brought up, the diagram of an erection. She's like, there's some street words for them. Does anyone want to share some?
I was like,
Oh yeah, everyone's like, yeah. Boner, just like random shit. There couldn't be a worse way to go about it. Hey, 4th grade teachers, do better. Dude, we all walked out like, what the fuck? And then the next week you had the DARE guy for drugs. It made me want to do drugs. Like that sex talk, I was like, definitely want to have sex now.
Sex
drugs,
horny.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
The 2 things I've learned the past 2 weeks, I want to have sex, I want to do a lot of drugs.
sex education.
Virginia Court Elementary, you
education,
failed me.
yeah.
The Tigers, you failed me.
Yeah.
And my gym teacher, Mr. Bubbles, his name was Mr. Bubbles.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Mr.
Coach Bubbles. Short gym shorts, big dude. Big dude.
I got a
man.
story for you.
Big dude, and we'd play all those fun games, jump rope for heart and shit. But the court, we didn't have a basketball court. It was a fucking carpet. What kind of bullshit is that?
This is
It was our lunchroom, gym class.
I was 14 and we had somebody come in and talk to us about sex, and this was a
14?
boarding school. Yeah. And they were talking about, we learned all kinds of things, like, for example, pre-cum. I remember that was a big thing. Like, you can get somebody pregnant without, because there's pre-discharge.
Is this a guy or girl teacher?
Well, this was a girl, and we also had a guy there.
They like
It was
to
an
do
older
both.
man
Yeah,
standing
they
there,
like to
and
do
then-
both, so you get
and
both
he was
sides.
older and stuff. And I don't know why I'm saying this, but I remember it so well now. It's funny how you get these memories. And a girl raises her hand and she goes, is it true? This is a girl. She's like, is it true that some girls fantasize about being raped?
Oh my god.
And there was a pause and everybody goes, whoop, and the teacher looks at her and she goes, no, that is not true. Moving on. And then I heard her.
Was she like an emo girl?
She was just, yeah.
She had like black makeup.
I think she was a young girl who had
She had a crow shirt on?
She'd heard adults talking and had missed some she mixed some context in the adult conversation she obviously overheard, didn't know how to make sense of it.
Way off, lady.
Kids will pick up on pieces, and they'll just say shit. And, I remember her on the bus crying. She was crying and explaining, and her friends.
I didn't mean it that way.
Her friends were petting her and telling her.
Petting her?
And she was crying, and she's like, and then another girl goes, "It is true that they've done studies about some girls fantasized about being raped." And it's like, that's all I was saying. And I was like, oh boy. I remember being like sitting there as a guy watching these girls comfort each other and have this weird circular conversation. Yeah.
You just raging boner?
Yeah.
I guarantee when she went, is it true every girl fantasized getting raped? Everybody went, oh, all right. We got ourselves a live one here. Oh, we got ourselves a real freak.
Yeah.
Hey, how about we go to Hot Topic and I show you my Green Day pass.
No. What they did talk about was there was an article about how this guy had written an article about how he saw a movie where the woman was being raped and he had he got really aroused.
Oh, I'm sorry. The girl said this again?
There was a movie where the girl's being forced to be
did this
forced
happen
to have
in your
sex,
class or
forced
no?
to have sex. That was the topic became after that there was a guy who had written an article about how he saw this, simulated rape in this movie and he got horny and felt really guilty about it. And then that was the discussion about were cavemen.
That's intense at 14?
Oh, yeah, dude. It was boarding school. It was very liberal. I went to a very liberal boarding school where they gave you the benefit.
You remember all the bullshit? Like, even at 14, they'd still play cartoons to get messages through. Remember, was it School of Rock or what was it? I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Remember all that?
Of course I do. I'm just a bill.
You had that?
Someday I will be.
And you mean Reading Rainbow?
I hope that someday I will
Reading
be.
Rainbow was, that dude was dropping some knowledge on kids.
Those are the things I would see when I'd come back to the United States and
be like,
watch
what the
cartoons
fuck
on a
is this?
tiny TV in my grandparents'. When I think about the TV that I used to watch in my grandparents' house in Pelham, New York, it was about the size of a small pizza. And it was just sitting there with those the antenna. That's how old I am. And we just watched TV.
But
and
there's only like 3 channels, right?
Manila Gorilla would be on.
Never heard of that.
That was a cartoon that would come on. And
you watched the one cartoon where Mickey's like on a boat, steamboat. He's like,
Steamboat Willie, yeah.
I don't know, but I'd watch it.
Yeah, that was your favorite cartoon, Steamboat Willie?
I Dream of Jeannie was on, and I loved that. And
the original.
Yeah, she's the looker.
Oh my God, Barbara Eden.
Oh yeah.
Oh my Lord.
You know what my Aunt Nubby told me? She goes, yeah, you were always. She said you're always different, little kid. Like you want to get. I'd get picked up from kindergarten or elementary school, and I had to have my chicken and stars, not chicken soup and noodles, chicken and stars.
Oh yeah,
same as chicken noodle, but it had to be the stars.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had to have I Love Lucy on. I'd eat my noodles and chicken stars and watch I Love Lucy. She was like, it's very strange.
You liked I Love Lucy at that age?
Loved it.
Wow.
Weird, right?
That's a great show.
Yeah, she was like, it's all you wanted to watch.
Groundbreaking show. Groundbreaking show. White woman married to a Puerto Rican man. It
was a great one.
Groundbreaking show. Very, very considered.
It's still
very
entertaining.
Yeah.
If you'll catch some reruns on
Lucille
it.
Ball was a beast.
Yeah.
The Honeymooners. Watch The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason. Phenomenal.
Isn't that weird though? That young wanted to watch I Love Lucy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Nubby said it was very strange.
Well, it's with your grandma, right?
No.
Is
no,
Nubby?
no. Nubby's my aunt. Yeah, she'd just bring me to my dad's house, and I'd have to have my chicken stars and I Love Lucy.
Great movie.
Very strange.
Great show.
Very strange. She said she'd just leave me, then I'd just watch reruns.
Shot in front of a live studio audience.
Beast, right?
Yeah. That was when there were what? 3 players in town, right? Three channels. When you did a TV show back then.
Oh, if you got on TV.
Wow. You were famous.
You were watching Steamboat Mickey and shit. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man.
I wasn't watching. I don't remember Steamboat Mickey. I remember Magilla, Gorilla, Hurricane.
Steamboat Willie came out in like 1914.
Black and white is the first cartoon.
Hurricane.
You ever seen Mickey?
No,
He's all
The Little Rascals. I saw Little Rascals. Hurricane Hippo. I saw that.
I'm not familiar with Hurricane Hippo.
With yeah.
I'll drop some fucking shows on you. How about Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, Gummy Bears?
Don't remember it.
Animaniacs,
Nope.
Looney Tunes.
Well, Looney Tunes. I remember Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny.
But you didn't grow up with them?
And Elmer Fudd. Yeah.
Ooh, B, how about Gargoyles? You remember that one?
I do remember Gargoyles.
Hell yeah.
You guys are all 20 years younger.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men. Those were all big on Saturdays.
That Saturday morning lineup was a fucking murderer's row of entertainment.
and you would just go. Now my kids watch shit. The TV that my kids get to watch on that giant flat screen, that 4KD, whatever. I mean, you're talking about. Like, just think about The Lion King or think about The Jungle Book now. Think about watching that as a kid.
Oh, I know.
They get
So real.
When I come back after a trip and they haven't seen me in 4 days and The Jungle Book or some shit's on like that, good luck. Or, I don't know, what are these new shows?
Have you, we'll put on the Disney Channel or something like that, just to have cartoons in the back. Obviously, my son's only 7 months.
Wait till they see Harry Potter and those movies with the special effects.
The thing is SpongeBob, it's really geared towards the older generation. It's not for kids.
You know what's ending now? They're like, it's the last season.
How many seasons have they done?
17 years.
Shit, they're their own movie. The two voices. Have you seen the two guys, two older men?
Yeah.
The voices of SpongeBob and
Patrick.
The two just grown ass men. But I watch it and I'll watch it with my son. Just like he likes the colors or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's geared towards parents.
Yeah.
Like.
It's just like Rugrats. Like if you watch Rugrats as an adult, there's a whole like B storyline and like all of these episodes. It's like way more adult.
Yeah, but
you don't realize it when you're watching it. For instance,
the last SpongeBob I watched, SpongeBob and Patrick go to where like these outsider people live, and they're hillbillies, and they all they're just rednecks of the sea, and they hold them hostage, and they want one of them to marry their grandma. So Patrick and them, to not die, they want to be slaves. Like, you're working for our grandma from now on. Not to be slaves. They run off, go back to the restaurant. They come to the restaurant to, basically riot and kill them. And then they order food. They love the food. The one chef, the lobster or something, sees the grandma. And the show ends with the lobster marrying the grandma of the rednecks. It's not a kid's show at all.
Does it make that? Do you ever hear that when they played that one cartoon or something? You can look this up. I think it was in Japan, and they played it. It was a new anime thing, and slew of children, like way too many,
seizures.
Had seizures.
I did hear about that.
Well, they went into seizures because of the colors and shit. The little kids were like, fuck, their brain.
It must have been some shit.
How about that?
Damn.
How about that?
Don't bring that up. I don't want to have a seizure.
Jesus. I mean, I made this awesome show. Here you go, kids. It was crazy.
Did you ever watch the Thornberries?
Wild Thornberries? Yes. It was a little late. It was
I'd
a little
have to
late.
see it.
Oh, I love that show.
I'm a little. So some of my shows, you guys missed. Some of your shows, I missed.
Can you
We're right around that.
Can you remember a movie that just put you in your such your own world that you never wanted it to end? Can you remember a movie like that? Was there a movie that just?
What do you mean?
Like a movie where you just I watched this movie called Time Bandits, and I wanted to live in that world. Like I didn't want to come back to reality. I didn't.
Like you hate when a movie ends.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
I love the
Jurassic
Godfather.
Godfather. Mine was Heat.
Oh,
that's a great one.
Because you wanted to be a criminal, like.
I don't want to be a criminal. I just love the characters, and I didn't want. I felt like it ended too early.
Yeah.
It's all like my favorite show on
Heat's
TV right now
movie.
is America Horror Story. It's so good this season. When it ends, I'm like, fuck!
I didn't see.
I can't wait for next Wednesday.
Wow.
The two best shows on TV right now that just happen to be on FX are American Horror Story this season's so good,
Really?
and then that show Atlanta with
gotta see Atlanta.
Donald
That looks
Glover.
good.
He produced it,
Childish
directs
Gambino?
it, stars in it. Donald Glover. Yeah,
That looks really good.
it's so good. This week sucked balls. It was basically it was a weird reality of like black commercials and how it's stereotypical and stuff like that. It really wasn't a show. It's creative as fuck, but it wasn't the show. It's good though. What else you got? I have one more and we get out of here.
All right. This is a really good one. I like it. Hey, guys. I was wondering if you can give me some parenting advice. My 8-year-old son has been doing wrestling with Mark Munoz, and he loves him and the rest of the coaches. But he got in an incident where one of the other kids choked him out. Now my son doesn't want to go back. What should I do? Kid's 8 years old.
So but this is we need to have this mom on, or maybe she can email me. Shout out email. No, I'm just kidding. Why did he get choked out in wrestling? Was it a jiu-jitsu class, like grappling class?
It sounds like a grappling class.
It says wrestling with Mark Munoz.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's just pretend. Let's just, for sake of the argument, that it was a grappling class and the kid got choked out. I think it's natural for him to be scared. I'm like, Jesus, I don't want that to happen. I remember in football, I got rocked, and I'm like, I'm not going back. It's your natural instinct. Like, what? I got embarrassed. I'm not doing that, man.
Hurts.
So just to teach this little dude a life lesson, when the going gets rough, even though you don't want to do it, the thing you're most afraid of, you got to go and do. So I don't care if he's kicking and crying, you got to get him back on that mat. You have to, just for life lessons. I remember I wanted to quit football. My dad's like, you what? It was like the second week of the season. This is Pop Warner, man. My dad's like, you can quit for sure. If you just absolutely hate doing it, I'm never wasting my time signing up for again, paying for all this shit. You're going to have a ton of money. He's like, and you got to go in front of your teammates and tell them that you're giving up on quitting. It's the only way you can get out of it. You're just not going to show up. Yeah. I mean, these life lessons. So for that little dude, I'm sure he's scared. I've been there too, man. You got to get him back in there. You have to. Otherwise, when things go rough for the rest of his life, he's just going to stop. He's never going to find out. He's never going to get to the end of the rainbow. He's never going to finish the run. He's never going to finish that project he's working on. He's never going to commit to anything.
God, is there any worse habit? Is there anything better?
Someone who's flaky or with no follow through?
Is there any better formula for failure than that? When going gets tough and you quit. I remember wrestling,
he won't be reliable.
Wrestling practice. We a bunch of kids would show up, and I had to get there, and I used to look around. I did the same thing in theater class. I'd look around and I go, I wonder how many people are going to be left. How many people are going to be standing at the end of the season? And it was always, of course, a third of the people. There were people that just seemed to quit. But
with him, I think it's more about he's going to be scared. That's natural. You just have to get him over that.
Yeah.
And for the rest of his life, it'll really help.
It's tough. It makes me nervous because I think every parent has to face this at one point or another, and you got to figure out a way to be crafty.
Can't let him quit.
Get him back in there, maybe slowly, with governors on, and let him get his build.
There's really no governors for a kid's class. They're not gonna tailor the class for him.
Build his confidence back up somehow.
Maybe Mark should let the kid choke him out. Mm-hmm. Show him it's not too scary.
Or she could talk to Mark and hey, let him go with kids that he's better than.
I'm sure Mark would know how to deal with it too, right?
Mark, he might be the best children wrestling coach in the world. Yeah. He's amazing with those kids. Shout out to Mark Munoz. Good luck with that. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Well, while you guys are listening to this, we are probably driving our asses to Oxnard, California. I don't even know where it's at, B, so you're going to have to be my pilot.
I'll drive you, buddy.
Thanks, pal.
I'll take you.
Tesla.
Don't you worry about nothing.
Thanks, man.
Got to charge my Tesla up right now.
Going to charge it up. It's probably not charged. We will be in Oxnard if you guys listen right now. It might be sold out, might not. We're close to it, so who knows. But go to tfatk.com for tickets in Oxnard, and that is Thursday night at Levity Live in Oxnard, California. That's like Ventura, Sherman Oaks area. Mm-hmm. Get your asses there, guys. And then on the 26th, that thing is damn near sold. I think there's 50 tickets left. That's in Brea, California. SoCal, Brea, California. We're at Brea Improv. Is that right on that?
Yeah,
Brea Improv.
Right,
Brea Improv. And then we're headed on up to the East Coast. The New York Comedy Film Festival in New York City.
New York.
Gramercy Theater, one show only, one magical frickin' night. New York City, Fire and Kid is live. That is November 3rd. So Oxnard this Thursday, Brea the 26th, New York on the 3rd. Get your tickets now, tfatk.com.
If you live in Calgary, in Canada, Calgary, Canada, I'm going to be at Yuck Yucks October 20th, 21, and 22. Yuck Yucks, Calgary, October 20, 21, 22. I always sell out, so get your tickets. Yuck Yucks. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry.
Bye-bye. Wow. Hell of a pitch there, B. Booyah! T-Fat Cave, everything you need. We got Master Kim T's new ones, Black Belt and the Tiger T's dropping, I think, next week, right, Kay?
Yes.
Boom. Master Kim, all new Master Kim's drop next week. tfatk.com. Oxnard, Brea, New York. See you soon. This is the Fire and Kid. We're out.